your God power. Get everything you ever wanted and live the life of your dreams. The Master's Course. Copyright 2010 by Richard Lee McKim Jr. All rights reserved. Let the quest for knowing begin. Why are most of these examples from so long ago? As we have learned, our realities are based on our awareness and our beliefs. In ancient times, they believed in miracles and special abilities. During the times of Jesus, rocks were turned into bread and water turned into wine, and no one questioned that it could be done or that it had been done. It is our own science that has caused the eroding of our beliefs in the amazing. As we learn about physics, we know that water can't be turned into wine, so it never happens again. However, even though as a population we don't really believe in these types of abilities, it can't and doesn't stop individual people from having realities that allow them to have these kinds of amazing experiences still. To the skeptics and non-believers, they believe that there's always some natural explanation or that it is a trick. That's fine. It's not our place to change their reality. However, even though current examples of these types of realities are harder to find, they're still around. The following video example is of a young girl in India who can see and read even when her eyes are blindfolded. Video example: girl reads a book blindfolded. What is this video about? In this video example, a young girl is able to see and read even though her eyes have been covered with cotton gauze, a thick blindfold, and a person's hand. Most of the words spoken in this video are in another language, but it is still easy to figure out what is going on. This is obviously some sort of TV talent show. The man in the picture is one of the hosts who is amazed at her abilities. At the beginning of the video clip, they are putting cotton gauze over her closed eyes. Then they cover the gauze with a thick blindfold and tie it tightly. It is clear that she can't see. If she did open her eyes, the cotton gauze would get into her eyes. For the first demonstration, they call several volunteers from the studio audience to come up on stage and stand in front of her. She apparently is describing each of them, including what they are wearing. So they bring up another group of people, and again, she successfully describes them. Next, they hold a book in front of her and ask, "What color is the book?" She answers correctly. Then they ask her to turn to a page and start reading. She does. However, the host is so amazed that he wants to be sure that this is really happening. So he puts his hand in front of the girl's eyes to be sure. Still, she continues to read the passage.
For best results, pause this video at this point here, and watch the video example mentioned in the segment. The links are located in the book chapter, and at the end of the book. If you are watching this online, you will find the link for this video example listed in the notes section. Then, after watching the associated video example, continue watching this video from here.
What does this video example show and what does it mean? This is a strong example of the altered realities that we have been discussing above. While not everyone will believe that this is true, they don't have to. All of these examples are for believers, for it is only the believers who have the ability to change their own realities in powerful and amazing ways. The non-believers are limited to tiny alterations only because it takes strong faith and belief to affect big changes. Okay, let's look at this illustration. Normal reality. Well, once again, you have the physical meaning of a person. Then you have the physical meaning that eyes see light. Then you have the physical meaning that blindfold blocks light. Then you have the physical meaning that hand blocks light. And then you get the physical meaning result, she can't read the book. That's the normal reality. Okay, now we got God power exercised by her own belief. First, you have the physical meaning of the person, which is just what you'd expect a person to be, normal. But then you have the thought meaning She believes she has X-ray eyes that can see through things. That's what she thinks. That's what she's known as, the girl with the X-ray eyes. Then you have the thought meaning that blindfold is now invisible. And you have the thought meaning that hand is now invisible. So what do? You get a result that she can read the book. She can easily read the book. Because she believes that she has X-ray vision. So with her X-ray vision, she can see through anything that's in front of her eyes. Even though her eyes are closed, got the cotton gauze, got the blindfold, and even though the guy put his hand in front of her face, she can still see. Why? Because all of that stuff is just energy being represented as various things. She changed the meaning of it. She changed the meaning of her eyes of being able to see through anything. So anything means anything that's in front of her eyes. So it makes no difference what's in front of her face. She can see through it. If she knows she's holding a book, she knows she can see the book. So she does. It's just that simple. That's the power of God power, because that just shows you that our bodies are not real things. That blindfolds are not real things. They're just images. They're just energy with meaning. The meaning is a hand. The meaning is a blindfold. But if her eyes have the meaning that they can see through things, then she can, because it's just a representation. Here it says the ability has been elicited and activated in her own life experience. Once again, she's vibrating a positive vibration of I can see through things, and so she's eliciting all the things that are necessary to see through things to read the book. Now, the host on his own suddenly stuck his hand in front of her face. I'm sure that she didn't know that that was going to happen. So, she already knew she was blindfolded, so obviously her meaning is going to cover seeing through the blindfold. Okay, so she's obviously eliciting that. That could be the first two tuning forks. Eliciting being able to see through the cotton gauze and her eyes closed and be able to see through the blindfold. But then suddenly, the guy put his hand in front of her face to be sure that she can't see, to try to block in case she is. And suddenly she can see through his hand too. So that third tuning fork could be her eliciting the ability to now see through his hand. Because you see, when you have the overall meaning that I can see through things, and you're eliciting that from the situation, then the situation first was cotton gauze, eyes closed, blindfold. That was the original situation. What was she eliciting from that? She was eliciting the ability to still see the book despite those things in the way. Okay? Out of the infinite possible things in the situation, she elicited the ability to still see the book. Okay? However, check this out. The situation changed. Suddenly, a hand appeared in the situation. Suddenly, there was another barrier. But because her meaning didn't change, her meaning was still, I can see the book, then even though the situation changed, she was now going to elicit from the situation in its new form a new result, which was still, I can see the book. So no matter how the situation changes, if her meaning is the same, she will always be eliciting the same result from the changed situation that she was eliciting from the original situation. So know that when you have a meaning and you give it to a situation, it doesn't matter what the situation does, you will always be eliciting from that situation the outcome that matches your meaning. Because the situation is neutral. His putting his hand there was neutral, meant nothing. Because her meaning would change that to whatever was necessary to match her meaning. It's just that simple. This video example is very similar to those who can see with their elbows, fingers, armpits, or earlobes, because they are not seeing with their eyes. They are seeing with their minds. The only difference between them is the location where they believe they can see. For the girl above, she believes that it is still her eyes seeing through the blindfold because her ability to see is still in the normal location, which is in front of her face. For the rest, they don't believe that their vision is still from their eyes because where they are able to see is nowhere near their eyes. There are many different ways to see, however. You could see in the normal way, noticing only the outside representations, such as the clothes and skin on a person or the outside of a building. However, if you were to x-ray the building or the person, you could see past the outside representation and see their inner representations. With regard to the body, it is only a question of what level of the representation you are looking at. Some people are able to see inside the human body and detect illness and disease. This ability is known as inner vision by many native tribes.
To continue, go to How to Use Your God Power, chapter number 10, segment number 28. Let your quest for knowing continue.